the reason that the staff, volunteers are going to be required to wear a mask as we reopen Ridgecrest is we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to protect those who are vulnerable that we could possibly transmit anything to. We want to do our best to protect them, and so we see this mask as a courtesy to those who join us for our worship services. So the reason we wear the mask mostly is to prevent the transmission of the virus to other people. The way I look at this, the way I'm going to approach this as your pastor is I want to love my neighbor. Jesus tells us that the whole law hangs on two things. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so I see wearing a mask, even though it's inconvenient and sometimes kind of frustrating, I see it as an issue of this gives me an opportunity to love my neighbor, to make sure I do everything in my power to protect my neighbor in any way that I can, from anything that I might have or I might transmit to other people. I want to make sure I do whatever I can to protect them. That's the reason that I'll be wearing a mask. That's the reason that we're requiring others to wear a mask. We aren't requiring everybody who attends to wear a mask, though we are going to strongly recommend that they do, especially in the first phase of reopening. A couple of options for those who don't have masks. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our best to provide masks at the beginning of each worship service. For those who attend, we'll have some cloth masks that our congregants have been making, people that we know outside of our congregation that have donated to us, and so we will have some of those available. We have encouraged folks over the last few weeks to come and pick up a mask, and so if you don't have anything else, make sure you wear a cloth mask if you're going to wear a mask. All masks that are available will be used only by you. They're going to be specifically for you as you pick them up and won't be used by anybody else and have not been used by anybody else before you. The only time a staff member won't be wearing a mask is when Greg and I go up on stage to either lead worship or to preach. The reason that we're taking the mask off is mostly because of an audio quality issue. We don't want to be muffled when we lead worship or when we preach. We want to make sure that you in the congregation and those on the live stream can understand what we're saying. We want to make sure you understand our heart when it comes to wearing masks. We want to make sure that we do everything we can to love every person in our congregation.